Hello, welcome to another section of Math. Let's look at this question. If x plus 1 over 9x is equal to 4, find the value of 9x squared plus 1 over 9x squared. How are we going to find the value of this expression? We know the value of this expression, which is what? 4. But what of this? Can we rewrite this one in any way to get something like this, or which you put 4 there and know what you're going to do? Well, without wasting much time, why don't we get started so that we will know what is going to be the value for this one, as the value for this one has been what? Given. Okay, so let's write our solution first. Alright, which of them are you bringing down? This or that? Well, since we know the value of what? The whole of this, which is equal to 4, I think we should rather bring this one down, because this one is an expression, and then maybe rewriting this one in any way to get something like this, of which we can substitute it with what? This 4 here can be very difficult, okay? Can be somehow difficult. So why don't we, bring this one down here, work on it to check if we can find the value of x, after which we can put it into this expression to find the value of what? This expression. Okay, so let's bring this one down. I mean this one, x plus 1 over 9x equal to 4. Let's bring that one down. Okay, here we are going to eliminate the fraction. We want to find the value of x, and we can do so by maybe eliminate what? The fraction first, so that the equation will be what? Linear. Okay, so to eliminate the fraction here, we are going to multiply through by the LCM in this equation. So what is the LCM here? The LCM is what? 9x. So you're going to multiply this one by 9, this one also by 9x, and then this one also by what? 9x. Okay, so when you multiply through by 9, that is what is going to be like. That is 9 into bracket here, because the 9 will multiply this and this. I've just put them in a bracket, so that when you open it, you get when you open it, the fraction will be eliminated, so that we save some time, rather than multiplying this one by this and by this and by that, just we want to go fast a little. Okay, so now let's open the bracket. To open the bracket, 9 times this will give us what? 9x squared. And 9 times 1 over 9x will give us what? That is 1, because this 9x and this 9x will cancel out and to be left with what? 1. 9x times 4 will give us what? 36. 36. 36. So we are going to get 9x squared plus 1 is equal to 36. Doing it this way is simple. So here, what we are going to do here is that we are going to bring this one to this side, and then we bring this one, we send this one to the other side. Okay, so this one is positive. When it crosses the equal sign to this side, going to be what? Negative. The same thing is applied here. This one is positive. When it crosses this equal sign, is going to be what? Negative. So you're going to get 9x squared minus 36 equal to minus 1. Okay, here 9x squared minus 36x equal to 1. How are we going to get the value of x from this equation? Well, there are maybe we can use the quadratic formula. We can bring this one here and make it a quadratic equation. Though it's a quadratic equation, we can bring this one here and then equate it to 0. Then we use the quadratic formula, or the same time we can bring this one here and make it maybe positive, that is plus 1. Then we factorize. We find the factors of the product of 4, the coefficient of x squared and the constant, and then we factorize. After which we equate it to 0, and then we know the value for what? X from the equation. Or we can also, in this form, we can solve for the value of x by what? Completing the squares. By completing what? The square. Actually, that is what I'm going to use in this view. That is why I did it this way. But if yours, when you get quadratic equation, you want to complete the square set of 9x squared minus 36 plus 1 is equal to 0, and you want to use the completing square method, the first step says that send the constant to the other side. I mean, where the 0 is, you have to send the constant to the other side of the hot equation. So that is what I've just done here. Okay, so you're just going to follow the rest of the step to find the value of what? X. So using the completing square method, the moment you see this three dots, it means that you are to escalate the last word, or meaning there is maybe more. Yeah, maybe there are more, but it has been what? Shortcutting. Yeah. Okay, that was just by the way. Yeah, that was just by the way. So using the completing square method, make, as I said, there are more, but maybe shortcutting it. Make the coefficient of x squared unity. Make the coefficient of x squared unity. To make the coefficient of x squared unity, it simply means that you are to make the coefficient of x be what? 1. Unity means what? 1. You are to make it what? 1. So if it is more than 1, you are to reduce it to what? 1. You are to reduce it to what? 1. Then how will you reduce it? You reduce it by dividing it by what? The number that is attached to the x squared. Okay, so we are going to reduce the coefficient of x squared by 9. We are going to reduce it by what? 9, and that will give us what? 1. But because it's an equation, whatever we do to the right hand side has to be applied to the what? The left hand side also. So you're going to divide the whole of this one by 9, and also this one by 9, and also this one by what? 9. Okay, so now when you divide this one by 9, you're gonna get this 9 and this 9 will cancel out and to be left with x squared. 36 divided by 9 will give us what? 4x. 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 And then, so you're going to get x squared minus 4x is equal to minus 1 out of 9. Okay, so x squared minus 4 is equal to 1 out of 9. 1 out of 9. Oh, sorry, minus 1 out of 9. Okay, so the next step here is we are going to find half of coefficient of x. Please note, half of coefficient of x and not coefficient of x squared. X is different from x squared. X is another thing on its own. Now we are done with x squared. We are moving on to the next step. The next step says find half of coefficient of what? X squared. So what is the coefficient of what? X is, that is minus 4. Minus 4. Minus 4. So what is half of minus 4? That is what? Minus 2. Minus 2. Okay, good. The next step says square the half of coefficient of what? X, and add it to both sides of the equation. Assuming your equation is of this form. Maybe, yeah, when you are using the completing square method, said find half of coefficient of X. The next step also says square it and add it to both sides of the equation. But assuming if you were this equation were being is like x squared minus 4x plus 1 over 9 is equal to 0, then by using that approach, we are just going to find, we're just going to do add and subtract, add and subtract, add and subtract. But because ours is of this form, I'm just going to add the square of the half of coefficient of what? X to both sides of the equation. So please, when you square it, don't find the actual value unless you put it into the equation. Because when you find the actual value and you put it into the equation, you are just um wasting time, because you are just going to spend another time factorizing the other side of the equation. But if you just square it and put it there, you just save time from that factorization aspect, and then um move on to the next step, which is going to be reflected what? Here. Okay, so let's add the square of coefficient of x, half of coefficient of x to both sides. Now, after adding the square of coefficient of half of coefficient of x to both sides, that is what the equation is now looking. Okay, so when we add coefficient of, so when we add the square of half of coefficient of x to both sides of the equation, that is what it will be like, or it will look like. That is x minus 4x plus into bracket minus 2 raised to the power 2 is equal to minus 1 over 9 plus minus 2 raised to the power what? 2. Good. The reason why I said you shouldn't find the value is because when you find the actual value of this, you're going to get 4. And this side will be x squared minus 4x plus 4. And you have to what? Factorize. You have to factorize what? This side by finding the factors, replacing it, bringing the common ones out, and going to be lengthy. You're just going to waste time. But when you do it this way, it makes it what? Simple. So what we are going to do here is that here we are just going to take those with what? Squares. Those having squares, I mean those having what? Raised to power 2. And then we will take them, subtract them, and give it what? 1 square. What I mean is we're just going to take this x, and then we take this minus 2 here, and then we add it together. So we are going to get x minus 2, and then we put it into bracket, and then give it what? 1 square. So it's going to be x minus 2 bracket close raised to the power what? 2. That's what you are going to do to this side. That one is more faster than finding actual value and then factorizing again. When you do this like this, the next step is just pick this one and then this one, put it into bracket and then square it. Yeah, just pick this x and then pick this minus 2 here, put them into bracket and then what? Square it. Okay, but when you come to this side here, you have to find the actual value because you don't have any variable what here. Okay, so minus 2 raised to the power 2 give us what? 4. So here we're going to get x minus 2 bracket close raised to the power 2 is equal to minus 1 over 9 plus 4 plus 4. Yeah, good. Now when you open the bracket, you get the same thing as what finding the actual value and what factorizing. Even when you factorize, this is what you are going to get at the end of the day. So when you skip that factorization aspect and do it this way, it's more faster than that. You save some time. Okay, here let's simplify this side. Before we square both sides, let's first simplify this side. Now 9 times 4 will give us what? 36. So you're going minus 1 plus 36 will give us what? That is what? 35. 35. 35. So you're going to get x minus 2 raised to the power 2 is equal to minus 1 plus 36 divided by what? 9. 9. Okay, as I said, this and this will give us what? 35. 35. So this one will be equal to 35 over 9. 35 over 9. Now here we are going to square both sides. We're going to square both sides because this side has been what? Simplified. So there's nothing that we can do again. The only thing is to what? Square both sides. Square both sides. Okay. Okay. Now let's square both sides. Sorry, rather we are just going to, when I say square both sides, sorry, here we are just going to put square root on both of them. We will just put square root on this one and also put square root on this one, like taking square root of both sides, taking square root of what? Both sides, not squaring. Sometimes yeah, it does confuse. If you don't take care, it might confuse you. Yeah. So here we are having what? Power 2 here. So to get this power 2 away, I'm just going to put square root on it, and then the same thing will be applied what? Here. Okay, good. So with this one, these two will take away the square root sign to be left with what? X minus 2. But when you come to this side, this one from the now one of the laws of set, that is division law of set, square root of a over b can be written as square root of a divided by square root of 40b. So you're going to apply that one here. So this one is the same as square root of 35 over square root of what? 9. And that will give us, when you square 9, that will give us what? 3. So x minus 2 will be equal to plus or minus square root of 35 over 3. X minus 2 is equal to plus or minus square root of 35 over 3 over 3. Well, x this now here what we are going to do is very simple. We are going to find the value of x, and this one, looking at it, I think it's very simple to find the value of what? X. Is going to send this one to the other side of the equation. But before we do so, here we are having two answers, that is plus and what? Minus. So the value for x is going to be 2. That is, x will be equal to square root of 35 over 3 plus 2. That is when we take this one as positive, or x will be equal to 2 minus square root of 35 over 3. That is when you take this one as what? Negative. So for the first one, which is the plus here, is going to be this one plus 2. And for the next one, which is the negative here, is going to be this one minus what? This. Okay. Okay, so this is the first part of the answer. X is equal to square root of 35 over 3 plus 2, or x is equal to 2 minus square root of 35 over 3. Square root of 35 over 3. Now, the value of what x from the equation is this one or that. But the requirement what we are supposed to do is not this one. What the question is requiring us to, or expecting us to do, is to find the value of what? That 9x squared plus 1 over what? 9x squared. So when you do this and you don't find the value of that expression, you haven't done anything. Maybe you get some bonus mark, but you haven't done anything because you haven't met what the question is what asking you to do. Okay, so though we have gotten the value of x, but if you don't put into the expression to know the actual value of that particular expression, we haven't done anything because the requirement has not been met. Okay, so here we are having two answers. You are going to put one of them into the expression. Any of them that you put into the expression, you are going to get the same answer. The same answer. If we put this one into the expression and the answer that we had is different from when we put this one into the expression, we are wrong. The value of this and this is what? Wrong. At the end of the day, whether this one is positive or negative, any of them that you put into the expression should give you the same answer. The answer that this one will give should be the same thing as what? The answer that this one will also what? Give. Okay, but I'm going to put this one into this expression, show you how you can compute or work with it. I may show you how you can manipulate it to get your final answer, and then I will leave this one to you. Maybe if you wanna try putting this one into the expression, the approaches or the step that we will use to compute this one in that particular expression, you just follow the same approach and you get the same answer as what we are going to get for when we put this one into the expression. Okay, so I'll leave this one to you. You're going to put this one into the expression and then we work on it, and then I'll leave this one to you. You can also put this one to the expression, then you try, you get the same what answer. Okay, so let's move on. Let's find the value of what? The expression. The expression is what? 9x squared plus 1 over what? 9x squared. But before we put the value of x into this expression, when we put the value directly to this expression, well, you might find it difficult, manipulating. Though it won't be all that difficult, but it will take us what? A whole lot of time. Square it, the square root involved, to be something else. So we are going to break this one down. We are going to break it down so that when we put the value of x into it, it will be very, very simple for us to work with it or manipulate. Okay, how are we going to break this one down? Well, we know that this one is a perfect number. That means it can be squared. When you squared it, you're gonna get what? 3. When you square it, you're gonna get what? 3. And when you take square root of 9, you're gonna get 3. And so when you square 3, you're gonna get what? 9. Meaning we can write this one as what? 3 squared. 3 squared. And then having another squared here makes it very simple. So the whole of this one can be written as 3x into brackets raised to the power 2. The same thing is what? Apply here. But with this one, because the one, when you square it, will give you 1. This one, we will write it as 1 over 3x raised to the power, all raised to the power what? 2. Okay? Okay, good. You see, now we break it down. But yet still not that easy for us to do. This one here is the same thing as what? This one. So it's still not easy for us to do. So what we are going to do here is that to make this one more easy for us to deal with, we are going to use what we call symmetric function. Symmetric functions. Something like when you have a squared plus b squared is equal to a plus b all squared minus 2ab minus 2ab. So you're going to use something like that to break this one down. Then we put in our what value of what x. By doing that, that will make it very simple for us to solve for what to find the value of what the expression. Okay, so using symmetric function, yeah, the dot dot didn't come. The dot dot means you're just going to add another thing to it. Using symmetric function, that is a squared plus b squared is equal to a plus b raised to the power 2 minus 2ab. Using this one, we are going to rewrite this one here in this form. So because of this symmetric function that we are going to use, that is why I converted it from this side to this side, or I will write it from this side or from this form to what this form. Okay, so that it can fit it into the what we are going to do, or it can suit it. Okay, so by comparison, looking at this a squared plus b squared, when you compare it to this one, it's same thing. Here is a squared, here is also 3 raised to the power what x squared, 3 raised to the power squared, or 3 raised to the power 2. And then that is our plus. That's our plus. When you come here, forget about the fraction or blah blah blah. Still it will work. Here we are having b, so we assume this one is b, but there's a 2 here, there's also 2 here. That means we can reduce this one into this form, or we can rewrite this one using what the function, that is using what this approach. Okay, so we are going to assume that a is what this one, and then b is what this one. Okay, so let's rewrite using the what function. So this is how it's going to look like. So this a here is representing what this 3x here, and then this b is representing what the fraction what here. And when you come here, the same thing is applied. Here is what ab, so you're going to be 3 times what this one here. Okay, all right, so 3x plus 1 over 3x bracket close raised to the power 2 minus 2 into bracket 3x times 1 over 3x. And it's so because of what this one. When you come here, this 3 will cancel out with this 3x here. So this will cancel out with this what 3x here, and it will be left with what 1. 2 by 1 will give us what 2. Okay, so we are going to get the whole of this one minus 2. The whole of this one minus 2. Okay, here, like I said, when you compare it to 9x squared plus 1 over 9x squared, putting in the value of what x and then manipulating will be very difficult as compared to what this one. So here we are just going to what put the value of what x into this one, and then we compute, or and then we what solve. Okay, so we know that x is equal to what we know that x is equal to square root of 35 over 3 plus 2. But mind you, square root of 35 over 3 plus 2 is the same thing as square root of 35 plus 6 all over what 3. That means we just simplified it. Okay, so don't just get confused. To save time, that is why I rewrite this one this way. Okay, so we are going to put x into this. We are going to put this one here. We are going to put this one into this, and then we look at how far we can go with it. So let's replace x with square root of 35 plus 6 divided by 3. Okay, so when you put it into it, this is how it's going to look like. Good. Now here is what? 3x. So when you come here, it's going to be 3x times the whole of what? This one, that is square root of 35 plus 6 divided by what? 3. Now when you look at this one, you can see that this 3 and this 3 will go away, and then when you come here, the same thing is applied. That here is what? 3x. So when you put this one there, this is how it's going to look like. That is 3 times square root of 35 plus 6 divided by what? 3. So this and this will cancel out, and to be left with what? Square root of 35 plus 6 all raised to the power what? 2 minus what? 2. Okay. Um this one is square root of 35 plus 6 plus 1 over square root of 35 plus what? 6. Good. All raised to the power 2 minus 2. Well, what we are going to do here is that, remember the other time in our differentiation problem that we solved, we rationalize. So we are going to apply the same idea here. We are just going to rationalize this fraction. We are just going to take the said here, the square root here, just take it away from the denominator position to the numerator what? Position. And to do that, we are going to do so by rationalization. Not just rationalization, but what? Conjugate rationalize. To conjugate rationalize simply means we are going to take away this one by multiplying both top and down by its conjugate. So the conjugate of square root of 35 plus 6 is what? Square root of 35 minus 6. To conjugate something means you are to multiply it by its opposite. So if it is minus, you're just going to multiply it by plus. If it is plus, you're just going to multiply it by minus. So the opposite sign here is plus. So to conjugate this one, we are going to change the opposite sign from plus to what? Minus. But we just maintain this and that, and then we multiply both numerator and the denominator by what? 8. Okay, and doing so will eliminate what? The square root sign here. Okay, so let's do it, but make sure the rationalization aspect is being done to only this part and not what? This one. Just maintain this one and then rationalize this one. Okay, so as I said, rationalize the denominator. What denominator are we going to rationalize? When you look at here, this is where we are having the fraction, so this is where we are supposed to what? Rationalize. So let's rationalize. Okay, good. This is what I mean by conjugate rationalize. That means you're going to multiply both and top by the opposite of what? This one. When I say the opposite, what I mean is if this one is plus, its opposite will be what? Minus. And if this one is minus, its opposite will be what? Plus. You have to do it that way so that the square root will be what? Taken away from the denominator position to what? The numerator's what? Position. Okay, so here 1 times this one will just give us this one, but let's focus here. I am not going to show the expanded form for this. The whole of this times the whole of this, I'm not going to show the whole of it. We are just going to explain or expand, and then actually you will get to know, well, what when you expand this you are going to get. But I'll not be writing that one here, but I'll be saying it. Okay, so to this one times this one, To expand it, you're just going to take it one by one, like we are opening what? Like we are opening what? Two brackets, taking what is in the first bracket, you pick what is in the first bracket and then you multiply by the whole for the second bracket, you pick another one and then you do so. The same thing is what apply here. So we just take this square root of 35 here and then we multiply by the whole of this, and that will give us this time this will give us what? Square root of 35 times square root of 35 will give us what? 35, because it becomes 2 and that 2 will take away the square root sign. Okay, so you're gonna get 35. Square root of 35 times minus 6 will give us what? Minus 6 root 35. Okay, the job of this one is done. Now let's pick this one. So when we multiply this one by this one, we had 35 minus 6 root 35. Now let's pick 6. When you multiply 6 by this one, you're gonna get 6 times root 35 will give us what? Plus 6 root 35, and then 6 by minus 6 will give us what? Minus what? 36. This by this will give us some minus 36. So at the end of the day, when you expand, you're gonna get 35 minus 6 root 35 plus 6 root 35 minus 36, because 6 times 6 will give you 36. And from that you could see that we are having positive 6 root 35 and negative 6 root 35, and that one will what? Cancel out. And that when that one cancel out, to be left with what? 35 and then 36, but the 36 is what? Negative. So when you expand this, you're gonna get 35 minus what? 36. Okay, good. All right, so let's solve this part. Now 35 minus 36 will give us what? That will give us what? Minus 1. Minus 1. But mind you, square root of 35 minus 6 divided by minus 1 will give us what? Negative. So this operation sign here will change what? Minus. Minus. Good. So square root of 35 plus 6 minus into bracket 35 minus 6 bracket close raised to the power 2 minus 2. Now let's open the bracket for this one. Let's open the bracket here and see what we can do. Good. So when you open the bracket, you see doing it, the applying that symmetric function has made it working very easier for us. So you see what we have gotten at the end of the day. Let's look at it. Here we are having positive square root. Then here we are having another square root, but is what? Negative. When you open the bracket, it has become minus root 35 plus what? 6. This negative times this will give you positive. So you see this and this will go away, and then it will be left with 6 and then 6. So 6 plus 6 will give us what? 12. 12. You're gonna get 12 raised to the power 2 minus 2. Now 12 raised to the power 2 or 12 squared is what? You're going to get 144 minus 2. 144 minus 2. So 144 minus 2 will give us what? 142. 142. So if x plus 1 over 9x equal to 4, 9x squared plus 1 over 9x squared will give us what? 142. The same thing, when you plug in the negative 1, you're just going to get what? The same answer as what? This one. You just follow how we did this one, and then you just get the same what? Answer as what? This one. Okay, so therefore, if this one is equal to 4, Then 9x squared plus 1 over 9x squared is equal to 142. 142. 142. Yeah, I know that is cool. That is cool. Yeah, that is cool. That function that we use make the workings very easier for us. Sometimes math, get to apply some other areas just to help you solve your problem. Yeah, yeah, that is cool. That's cool. That's cool. All right, that's it, guys. Please, if you like this video, kindly give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching.